Yes. So
Chapter 26.
The last chapter.
Okay. Oh, I'm Chuuurls.
I'm Cherrydoom.
And I'm Chad.
And two of us are in person. Yes!
Yay!
It's Chuuurls and Chad. Together at last.
We've created all the combinations except for all three.
Yeah, only that remains. But the trifecta of meeting each other's has been done.
Be realized.
Alright, so I think I'm reading the summary finally. It feels like it's been a while.
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, Anastasia wakes up and finds Christian in the living room playing the piano. He scolds her for not sleeping, but Anastasia explains that she had to get up early to take her birth control pill and gets a doggy treat for doing a smart, neat trick. Christian plays many piano sadness songs before Anna broaches an important, sexy discussion with him. She wants to figure out the contract stuff as well as figure out what is going on with them. Christian says the contract is moot, and they say moot like 5 times. Except he wants her to still abide by it, so I guess it's not actually moot? Moot? Moot.
Moot. That's correct.
No, I know. I'm just reciting an exchange that happened in the book.
Some people think it's mute.
They're dumb. It seems he doesn't want to have an explicitly DS relationship, just a relationship with DS play. I guess he does this by doing away with the contract and thus blurring boundaries. What a great idea! He explains that whenever Anna breaks a rule, he'll punish her, but if she says no, he'll have to find a way to persuade her to accept it. He shows her a piece of paper with changes to the original contract. Okay, whatever, shut up, fuck off. Anna rolls her eyes. She's triggered Christian's limit break submachine spank! But the limit is cancelled when Anastasia explains that she gets hurt and feels bad when Christian doesn't procure proper consent. One question. Christian doesn't know why he wants to do sadism fetish thing to Anastasia or anyone for that matter. Anastasia decides to consent to Christian beating the ever-loving fuck out of her in an effort to see how bad it could possibly get. He hits her with a belt-like device 6 times, and on the 7th day, God rested and it was the Sabbath. AKA the day you stop your subservitude. Which is exactly what Anastasia does here. She tells Christian that he is a fucked up bitch and runs away from him. He tries to do some aftercare on her, but she insists they break up and he goes along with it because he believes he is too much of a bad boy for her. She composes herself and then asks him for the money Taylor got for the Beetle in exchange for giving the Audi back to Christian. Also, she leaves the fraction-size model plane building set for Christian with a passive-aggressive note. They are sad 4 feet away from each other. Then Anastasia symbolically leaves down the deep, dark, descending elevator. She blurbs in the car with Taylor, who gives her a hanky to snot all over. Anastasia returns to her dark apartment, empty but for the deflated helicopter balloon which stands as a monument to her failures. This has been 50 Shades of Grey.
Hooray!
Ta-da! Thank you for reading that summary. So pet theories, I mean, have we confirmed?
Yes, we have confirmed that Anastasia is a robot. I will now read the passage. Now squeeze body wash bottle, put body wash bottle back in rack, rub cloth on face, on shoulders, on and on to all simple mechanical actions requiring simple mechanical thoughts. Ghost confirmed also. A pale, haunted ghost stares back at me.
And she's looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
So, that's a ghost. Anastasia is a ghost.
And a robot. A robot ghost. A ghost
God.
in the machine.
She's
Literally.
She's on her way to becoming the moe ideal. A robot ghost. And robot ghost made childhood friend with injuries.
Anyone else?
Well, you know, it's kind of the end of the book, and I mean, I hate to tell you this, but I already read all the books, and I know what happens. So yeah, I don't have any theories.
You had done that has been the case for the entire podcast.
Okay, that's true. Okay, do I have any pet theories?
You don't have to. If you don't have any, you don't have any. It's the end of the book. Who gives a fucking shit anymore? Just throw it in the garbage. Throw the podcast in the garbage.
I simply hadn't written any down.
Okay. Chad, any for you?
I just wanted to get the book over with, so I didn't really think about it.
Okay.
I do have a question, though, about the ghost theory. So, do we know that she was really looking in a mirror? Could it have been one of those situations where she was doing motions in front of a thing that wasn't a mirror, and there was an actual ghost?
Spooky.
Oh, the ghost is pretending to be her?
The ghost is like, oh, she saw me. It just pretended to mirror her actions for a while.
That sounds like an additional pet theory to me.
Corollary.
Yeah.
I did it, yay.
You did!
Hooray! Alright, mechanics. So mine is sort of a general, not quite mechanic, but just pacing. This chapter, okay, a lot happens very quickly. So, in the last chapter, they're fucking around, they're having a good time, they're kissing, they fall asleep. And then suddenly in this chapter, things get sad, then they get smarmy, then they get fucking spanky, and then they break up.
Yeah.
Like,
or I would say more like sad, sexy, serious, smarmy, spanky, totally ruined.
Yeah, and then there's a couple, they lie in bed for hours, which I hate, just in general.
You don't? What do you mean in general? Do you mean specifically in a couple, or do you mean you don't like lying in bed for hours?
In a couple, okay. I hate. Oh God.
I was gonna say because I fucking love lying in bed for hours. But no, that's interesting. I mean, I just was she was very sad, and then Christian came to give her aftercare, and they're just laying in bed being sad for hours, and then they fucking break up, and she goes home and cries, and it was just very strange. It was weird, and I think the weirdness of this chapter is perhaps what makes it great. I don't know, but
I agree. It's the book was going kind of nowhere, and then she'd suddenly needed to slam into an ending of some sort.
Yeah, of course it's bad, but because it's bad, it's great. That's sort of what I was getting at. Yeah.
Compared to the rest of the book, where it feels like nothing is ever happening, the fact that a bunch of mood changes and tone changes all occur so quickly makes this chapter feel more interesting to read than all the other ones, even though it's all really stupid.
I feel like it should have been split into 2 chapters at least. And okay, so I looked at the original fan fiction, Master of the Universe, and it actually doesn't end here. In fact, this is actually 3 chapters. I believe what happens is they have all their sexy bullshit talk in front of the piano, and she's like, I want to see how hard it hurts. And then that's a chapter, and then her being sad is and breaking up is a chapter. And then the 3rd chapter is just the last paragraph where she returns to her apartment and is sad and surrenders herself to grief. And then there's a whole another chapter. After that, and by the middle of that chapter, they have already agreed to meet up again for Jose's art gallery thing. So it's not at all, it doesn't really have a sense of finality. They're already talking again. And
and plus the whole acknowledgement that this is the end of the book and this is a book series.
Yeah, and also Master of the Universe is 2 parts, 2 pieces. And and the first part is much longer, and I'm assuming that contains what became books 1 and 2, and then Master of the Universe 2 is book 3. And I guess it just happened this way because she didn't quite know where to cut it, and it just it's very strange. I feel like she just should have fucking rewrote the whole area if she was going to split the books like this.
I sort of agree.
Yeah, I think this chapter really... these last 2 chapters together highlight her amateurishness, as a writer. This is a first-time thing.
Yeah.
Because, not that you necessarily have to have these things when you're writing fiction, but, classically, you would have, in the Shakespeare sense of how to structure a story, you'd have, rising action to the climax, and then a denouement. Sometimes, not everything's had to denouement, but that's all crammed into this one chapter, and then there isn't really a denouement.
Yeah.
there's no denouement at the end of this. It's essentially the relief you get is like Anna lying in bed being sad, but there's no sense of finality. And like when the rights to this were purchased for publishing, well, I guess she self-published it first, so that's why it was broken up this way. Yeah, so the company didn't make her do anything because it was already out.
Yeah, I will just add to that and say, like, if you are not a genius writer, which that can be whoever you want, I don't care. I think some people would say, like, Hemingway. You need to write an outline so that you have, like, I mean, it doesn't have to be, like, falling, but it does. It actually does. I was fucking lying. You have to have, like, the correct sort of ebb and flow in your story, whether you are on purpose deviating from that or sticking to it, like probably you should.
I agree. And especially in fan fiction, a lot of times you will like just start. You'll say, "I'm writing, posting a chapter," and people like maybe people will like it, and people like it, and so like okay, I got to keep writing.
Yeah.
But like if you don't have any idea where you're going and you're just sort of posting as you go,
yeah, it gets
very
aimless.
difficult to very aimless. That's happened to me a bunch of times, and I've had to abandon stuff because I didn't have an outline. I didn't have any clue where I was going to go with it.
Well, if I can be all spoilery for a second, the way that book 2 starts is obviously they go to the gallery, but they go into detail about how like Anastasia's like Anastasia's a sad sack of shit. And, like, I think that if the last chapter was actually just Anastasia being a sad sack of shit and not having any development with Christian at all, that would kind of convince the reader, like, oh my god, like, what's happening in 50 Shades of Grey? Or what the fuck is gonna happen? And, like, not actually know. Or, if they do know, think, like, aha, this is her way of saying this is not a rush ending because the publisher split up the books the wrong way.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. Is there any sort of, like, Harry Potter style... I'm Harry Potter, and if you didn't read the last book, I'm a wizard, and I go to Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
No, there's nothing like that.
Okay, so there's no, like, sum up or anything. I mean, I guess it's not really that kind of book series.
I only want to tentatively say... I will only tentatively say nah, because it's possible that they could have something like that, like... But only in that, like, it's like, here's stupid Anna, here's Kate, her friend, here's Christian. It's not like, I, Anastasia Steele, was at SIP, typing my report, when suddenly my dom, Christian Grey, reminded me of his existence, except we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend anymore because we broke up in the last book. Like, that's not something that happens. Yeah, okay.
I really hope, I would like to do something like this. One of those, like, episode opener, like, of a 90s TV show, like a teen or
last
like
time on Saved by the Bell.
Sort of like that. More like in the vein of like, and not really Blossom. I can't really think of any specific shows, but like the sort of teen girl show where it's like, hi, I'm such and such, and this is my story, and then it's just like,
friends.
while like really stereotypical 90s like sitcom music plays.
Oh my god,
like,
this is Dylan,
and he's like, this is Christian. He's the crazy dom that wants to control my life, but I just can't take it. And then
that's Jose. He's an artist. I don't like him though.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we're just friends.
We're just friends.
This is Kate. She's my BFF. I get everything from her, including my clothes.
I'm trying to think of an example, but I can definitely like see that exactly.
Maybe like Clarissa Explains It All. Did something like
that?
Sort of.
I mean, that's mostly kind of visual.
Yeah.
Did they do anything on that on like My So-Called Life or anything?
I never saw that.
That's
Neither
too far back for me. Yeah.
Oh my god, I can fucking see it. Oh, yeah. The Wild Thornberrys.
Oh yeah, they did do it on the Wild Thornberrys.
We found him, Danny. He found us. Oh wait, the other way around. Anyway,
I don't know if this is in your guys' copies. I would be willing to check, but anyways. Don't you dare, Anna-me! You need to sort your shit out, Gray! So, don't you dare, Anna-me! You need to sort your shit out, Gray, is how that should have been, but don't you dare, Anna-me! Like, what does that mean? She's telling herself not to be herself? Don't you dare, comma, Anna-me.
In the print version, it's don't you dare, apostrophe Anna apostrophe me.
That's probably how it needs to be. But it was just too good not to say that it existed at one time.
So I'll do what Chuuurls normally does and read this
The wrong way.
The normal way, yeah. And then or the way that it's written, and then the way that it probably should be. So, the deep poignant longing I have to know this extraordinary man better, to try to understand his sadness. So, first of all, this is a sentence fragment. It's following something that gives it the context, but if you're just reading it, it sticks out because you're like, this doesn't make sense. Oh, it's a follow up to the previous sentence. So also there should be a comma between deep and poignant. So the deep poignant longing I have to know, etc., etc.
I need to mention the deep poignant longing I have to know this extraordinary man. That's how you're supposed to read it. But if you don't have that comma signifying, it sounds like the deep poignant longing. Period. I have to know this extraordinary man better. That did confuse me when I read it.
Yeah. He opens the door and, still grasping my arm, technically you can do this, but I would definitely do. He opens the door, comma, and still grasping my arm.
Really? Because I would just say he opens the door, still grasping my arm.
But
well,
there's stuff after it. Like, he opens the door,
but then what
and
about...
still grasping my arm. He does this.
No, but he opens the door, still grasping my arm, and blah blahs. I mean, there
it is that. Like a That's clause, true. Isn't it? Like, he opens the door, and whatever is after that could be by itself, but he's still grasping her arm during
Correct.
It, so...
Yeah, that's why this is technically okay.
Yeah.
But it's sloppy, because there's clearer ways to write this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this feels more conversational to me. Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, okay. My heart is pounding, and adrenaline has spiked through my body. Boy. This is so thrilling. I'm a child again, though that's not right. I watch him carefully as he paces deliberately toward me. I inch away.
Whoa.
I don't understand. I'm a child again, though that's not right.
Maybe she means, like, though that's not right, a child in this situation, that ain't right.
Yeah, but it's just not clear. I
don't know if that's what that is. But...
Maybe she meant, like, I feel like a child, except maybe not. Like,
yeah, that was my reading. It's like, it's like I'm a child, except not.
Except not. But then the other thing was the boy interjection, which is surrounded by ellipses, da-da-da, boy, da-da-da. Like, it sounds really tonally inappropriate. Like, when's the last time somebody was like, oh boy! Like, the 60s?
I mean, she does that all the time.
I know, but it's, in this situation, like, this is so thrilling, the first thing you say is, boy. Like, boy. I mean, yes, there's a man in the room, not a boy. But anyways, I think it just could have, I mean, if she has to have this, shit, what do you call that? When you, if you have to have this exclamation, you could probably frame it a little better than with ellipses. Especially if it's so thrilling, you wouldn't be like...
Yeah, I'm surprised it's not in italics, at least.
Yeah.
Boy, this is so thrilling.
Maybe for just, like, a split second, she became that guy from Oliver Twist that's, like, serving the food. It's just like, my heart is pounding, and adrenaline is spiked through my body. Boy, this is so thrilling.
Exactly. Okay, well anyways, that's the end of my complaint.
Okay. His breathing is ragged and harsh, whereas mine is almost non-existent, as I desperately scrabble around my psyche. I put a slight pause in there, but in the actual sentence, there's no comma between non-existent and then as I desperately scrabble around my psyche. It's two distinct clauses.
Really? His breathing is ragged and harsh, whereas mine is almost non-existent. As I desperately scrabble around my psyche. I don't like that, yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree, too.
Oh.
I think it depends maybe on the rest of the sentence, which was not...
Yeah, I forget what the rest of the sentence is, but it sticks out. Oh, well.
If it was like, while we desperately scrabble around my psyche, I would say yes, but because it's just her, it's... Because, like, they're not both breathing and doing the same thing at the same time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, let me see if I can find the sentence.
Okay.
Oh, okay, here's the full sentence. His breathing is ragged and harsh, whereas mine is almost non-existent as I desperately scrabble around my psyche looking for some internal strength.
I would say the comma would go after psyche, looking around, comma.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
As opposed to after non-existent.
Well, he was still right about needing a comma, so I the comma criminal destroyer. I support that. Okay. I'm quite fast, you know. I try for nonchalance. So am I.
He's stalking me in his own kitchen.
Okay, so I'm quite fast, you know. Yes, you're so fast that you cannot put a comma after fast.
There is a comma in the print version, I will say.
Well, oopsie. But I don't know if this is...
No, it's not an oops. It's definitely wrong in your version.
No, I mean, it's oopsie of me, not to double check. But
no, you don't have a print version to check. It's fine.
Yeah, well, okay.
What are you supposed to do?
Sometimes ahead of time we look at it and we say, hey, that's not in the print version.
No, I think it... No, we don't.
We don't? Okay, well,
No.
sometimes... Okay.
No, like, I'm just saying this was fixed, and it's... I'm not trying to correct you. I'm just saying this was corrected in these two versions.
Well, I mean, if anybody picked up the book and read it, they wouldn't find it, so that makes me feel sad.
So I'm just letting them know they wouldn't find it and that you're not wrong. Okay?
I'm fine with that. Thank you. All right, so after So Am I, there's a line break. So that's wrong. Okay. I don't know how that's handled in the print copy. Like, are the line breaks actually okay in here? Because they're fucking horrible in the ebook.
They vary. I think they tend to be formatted all right.
This is another thing where it's like, and then he speaks again, and it's one of those things where you would think that.
Oh, it's wrong, even in the book. Or not wrong, but it's not likable. So am I. He's stalking me in his own kitchen. Not, so am I. He's stalking me in his own kitchen.
And then he says another thing after that, and after another break.
If she were a better writer, I would forgive this, because usually you do these sorts of breaks to change up
to make the action feel a certain way.
Right.
Yeah.
American!
But you were so keen, and this is she's talking about when he's saying, we don't need to do the contract. Not so crazy, but it's definitely more common in British English.
Yeah, I agree.
That's smart. Anna thinks to herself while she's apparently being brutally beaten. Not really that much of an Americant, much like the Keen thing, but it's very old-fashioned and pretty uncommon, especially for someone Anastasia's age.
Yeah.
But, I mean, she is old-fashioned and uncommon.
She's old-fashioned. I didn't find any Americants because I have a lot of stuff to say about other stuff. So let's move on to wording. I'm the first person. Well remembered, he murmurs, and I can tell he's impressed. His lips quirk up in a half smile. Only you would start a course of time-specific birth control pills in a different time zone. Perhaps you should wait half an hour and then another half hour tomorrow morning. So eventually you can take them at a reasonable time. That probably could have even been in mechanics because the paragraph break between his lips quirk up in a half smile and only you would start a course makes it sound like she's the one scolding him for taking pills in a different time zone. Like, if it's the same, we've already said this, if it's the same person talking, you leave it in the same paragraph. Okay, and then the sentences in the second bit are split up super stupidly, like to the point where I call it incomplete sentences. So eventually you can take them at a reasonable time. Like maybe in some context that would be okay, but not this one.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's your question?
Okay, so she's like 2 hours behind a reasonable time. Would it?
I think 3.
Oh, okay. Would that make a difference? Like, would she get sick?
Yeah.
If she took them 3 hours?
I think it's safe to assume that she's probably on like a similar thing to me. And when I went 3 hours to the west, I had to take it at an earlier time because if I don't, and I think it ended up that I took it late because I was stupid, and then I got really sick. So.
Right, but that was because you took it like way later than you were supposed
That's right.
to, right?
That's true. I took it like a day late or something like that. But
yeah.
I would still say yes. I think what my doctor told me, and probably what they tell everyone else for taking the combination pill, is no later than 2 hours. Like I think 3 is on like the tail end of acceptable for you to still have like the 90-ish range of percentage. So yeah. I mean, your safest bet is to always take it at the same time.
I'm kind of amazed that he would know that. I mean,
I sort of am too, but like...
Because, I mean, like, dudes don't even know, like, how long you leave a tampon in.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Only because boys are dumb do I doubt him. Like, I've never met a man who was like, oh yes, of course, like, I understand the time. Like, no, you don't. You've never said that.
I mean, the only thing I would think is, it's showing that he's so caring that he would have researched this, but...
Except it comes off as, like, insane because he's not caring. He's horrible. Okay.
Chad, how long do you think you're supposed to leave a tampon in?
Sorry. It depends on how heavy the flow is and how often you need to change it.
No!
What?
Give me a specific.
Yeah, give her a specific hour amount.
I don't know, like maybe 6 hours at the max.
Okay, you got lucky because you clearly.
Well, you said hour, Chuuurls. That gave it away.
I did.
I was gonna say that anyway because you don't want to get septicemia.
Toxic shock syndrome. But I still feel like that was a lucky guess because you said that you would leave it in longer. Or no, did you? Longer on a heavy flow day?
No,
he's just said it would depend on how heavy the flow is.
Oh no, Chad's smart.
Yeah, but I encourage ladies to ask dudes how long you're supposed to leave a tampon in, and
I'm really disappointed. But okay,
I've heard a couple days.
5 days.
Oh, that's gross. Sorry, I pay attention in health class, guys. Sorry to be a disappointment.
Sorry.
Oh, you didn't have to go to the gym while that portion was going on.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe I read about it.
Yeah, didn't you go to school in Florida? Like, you probably read about it. What happens.
Not for all my classes. I was also in Virginia.
True. Yeah, but Virginia. Well, actually, I mean, I grew up in Virginia too, but I think until a certain time in the 2000s, they weren't very good about it. I don't know.
I mean, I just think it's more of dudes wanting to have nothing to do with it.
I hate periods.
Anyways. You can finish your thought if you want to, Chad.
I mean, it really doesn't gross me out that much or anything to know about it.
That's
good.
Well,
I think we all found out that we are comfortable talking about periods since what was it? It was episode 24.
So Christian is asking Anna why she's not asleep, and he says, "Don't you need to recover from yesterday's exertions,
m'lady?"
Just ugh, God. Just, I mean, I know he's trying to be fucking cute or whatever, but just don't fucking do that. It's just, makes me so mad.
I almost would have put that in American, except that it's so insane that I don't even think somebody from England would say it.
Don't you need some downtime from the
By the way, the exertions were sex.
The exertions were sex.
The sex
and that is why I am
straight sex.
mad about it, just because he's referring to sex as exertions.
Milady's exertions have left her tired.
Don't you need to recover from yesterday's duties?
And I'm not talking about the toilet kind.
Oh boy. Alright, next.
Okay.
Yeah, I also don't like that exertion thing. Anastasia refers to the Chopin piece that she walks in on. No.
Not
Chopin. No. He plays the other thing that she heard the first time she walked in on him playing the piano, and she refers to them as sad, soulful notes. Sure, but how soulful could they really be? It's Bach.
No, but I don't see Bach named in here.
Yeah.
She's talking about the first piece he played, which was Bach back then. Right?
Yeah,
way back then. I understand.
Yeah, because he's playing Chopin when she comes in, and then she's like, "I want to
play
hear
the other
thing."
one.
Yeah, and it's Bach.
Play the other song, you know.
I like Bach and all. Don't get me wrong, but he is a Baroque composer.
Yeah, I would say
I too enjoy a good Bacchanal.
Soulful, yes. Sad, typically not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And even the soulfulness is undercut by the floridness of Baroque music.
135, 135, 135. Christian is playing. This I must see. I love watching him play. Those were all split up by periods. Me and Joy Watch. Also, is she not listening to him play, or is she just being a perv and watching him? I love to watch. I don't care about music. That.
She just likes to watch pianos get abused.
Yeah.
I like it when God such pianos.
Time moves and expands and slips away before he answers softly.
Time has stopped. No, okay, I'm sorry. It was a bit like that anime I just referenced, but like
What anime?
Time. It's JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, okay.
Time is progressing at 1 second per second. She may feel that time does that, but it's not really doing that. Okay. All right. Glad we had this talk.
You've ever had an experience where time just seemed to just move so slowly?
No. I thought that only happens like when you're getting thrown away from your car in a car crash and then time seems to stop because you're fucking dying.
What if it's like when you're waiting for the workday to be over or for school to end?
Like excruciatingly slow passing of time.
Yeah, but that's like boring.
So is
boring
this.
time. This is... Oh, it is?
I'm bored.
Yeah, me too. All right,
by this book. Not by this podcast.
Yeah, this is...
Okay.
Check.
He nods. His wary look intensifying. Looking intensifies.
Name drop to Cherrydoom Twitter.
Oh yeah, everybody follow my Twitter account at Netflix. Oh shit, what is it exactly?
You'll remember at Netflix FX.
At Netflix Sound FX. FX, the letters FX. At Netflix Sound Effects.
You should do it because you can win a fun prize. I actually mistakenly won the first thing. I didn't think I was going to, and I did.
Yeah, I just need to set up that up better because I was getting a lot of people not following the rules. It's tough to set up a Twitter contest, but we'll probably do it again someday. Anyway, follow it. I basically find amusing sound effects from Netflix closed captions and post them. Anyway,
let's see. I move cautiously toward him, drawn as the moth to the flame. The idea makes me smile. It's just, oh my god!
I mean, it's a theme, obviously. She's trying to,
Do you think that this is just the author? The author just kept putting this in here because the idea made her smile. Oh my god, I'm so tired of this, and I'm glad because this is the last chapter, and I'm not going to have to see it again in this book. Wowzers. Anyways, yeah, I wanted to let everybody know that was still happening.
Yep. My heart clenches anew and releases a fresh wave of silent sobbing. It's got a heart sponge, and it's gross. There's a lot of, like, really, really lurid, purple sadness prose in this chapter. She's very sad about the end of this 2-week relationship.
My heart clenches and then turns inside out. That's disgusting. I was not even looking at the book. That just stuck with me because of how fucking gross it is. But speaking of body parts that you don't want to think about, I feel the movement of his hands and his shoulder as I lean against him and close my eyes. So I know what she was talking about. I get that it's because he was playing the piano, moving his shoulders around, but it's like... It sounds like he has hands inside of his shoulders. Like, his hands in his shoulder. Maybe could have better been expressed as, said as, I feel the movement of his piano playing expressed through his arms and or shoulders and or body. One of them. Cherrydoom, can you read this Big Daddy Businessman style?
He said, what? Well, he could have told us the fucking truth. What's his number? I need to call him. Welch, this is a real fuck-up. Find her.
Thank you. Did you have anything you wanted to say about this?
Nope, just more Big Daddy business talk.
There it is.
On the phone.
Yeah, and this is right after they decide to break up, by the way. So.
Yeah. And we don't know who she is. And Anna's like, I don't care, I'm too sad.
Yale James uses another one of her favorite phrases, run screaming for the hills and run screaming, both in this chapter. And she's used it constantly. Like, Anastasia has used it to refer to, like, how they both have, to, like, how she would react to finding out his dark secrets, which she finally kinda did, and sorta did.
Usually the run for the hills screaming thing is something I see the subconscious do.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
But I remember
also, Christians used it about, like,
Yeah.
you can run away screaming if you don't like what you see in the room.
He's like, oh, when you see this, you might go running for the hills or run screaming to the hills.
Yep.
Okay. A quote. Oh, this is a dark morning of the soul for me. Okay, so is that some kind of reference to, like, what do they call it? Like, the Dark Night of the Soul?
Yeah.
The
But
great album by Sparkle Horse, produced by David Lynch. Probably not what she's referring to.
No, probably. Well, but maybe. But also, so she says Dark Morning of the Soul. How much you want to bet she heard Dark Night of the Soul? Like, but I think it's used in literature too. Like, I feel like,
Oh,
like
it definitely
the
is.
midnight of the. Okay. I didn't have Google when I was writing these notes because I was.
But
on the
it's
bus.
morning, so she says Dark Morning of the Soul.
But it's a double meaning. It's a fucking pun because she's mourning about the breakup.
I'm pretty sure.
Don't know if she
that-
meant to do that.
Okay, probably she's not that smart, but I just think, yeah.
I believe she's referencing Dark Night of the Soul.
Yeah,
Like,
but
it's-
Dark Morning.
Yeah.
To get
Like,
it.
I can't remember if Dark Night of the Soul was in a story or written in literary criticism that was famous, but it's, I don't know, do you guys know what it refers to?
No.
What? Dark Night of the Soul? Nope.
Yeah, it's just, it's any time that a character, like, hits their nadir and has their existential crisis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about this in modernism.
Yeah,
So
The Long
long
Dark Night
ago.
of the Soul.
Yeah, The Long Dark Night of the Soul. Yeah.
Is that a reference to something specific where that started?
Yeah, I think it was either a story or famous literary criticism that used the
Yeah.
phrase.
Okay.
It's your turn.
I only accepted them. Okay, she's returning the laptop and the car and all that shit. I only accepted them under sufferance, and I don't want them anymore. Wow, I really fucked that sentence up typo-wise.
I only had said them under sufferance, and I don't want
we're not them anymore.
Not.
So she's saying, I looked up the definition of sufferance, and she's basically saying, I only tolerated them, and I don't want them. I only accepted them, so that you would stop bothering me about it.
I actually think the first time I read this, like, before we even were podcasting this, I looked it up, and I think that is what it means. Like, I only, like, tell me to do it.
I mean, yeah, I did look this up before, and yeah, that is indeed what that means.
Well, it's just, it's such a weird way to say that.
Yeah, it's just Anna being a fucking perceived fancy pants again.
Yeah.
This was referenced earlier, but when they're chasing each other around the kitchen, Anastasia says, he's stalking me in his own kitchen. He'd probably stalk any woman anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't want to go!
I whispered, fuck. This is it. Pay or play. Tears swim in my eyes once more. Pay or play.
Didn't
Shit or
he use that
bust.
earlier, or?
Shit or bust. Pay or play. What does it mean?
I don't
It
know.
doesn't. It's not. It doesn't make sense. I know what she's saying. I can't remember the idiomatic phrase. It actually should be. It's like down to the wire, basically.
It's time to put up or shut up.
Yeah, or pay up. I can't remember the first part. But anyways, it's just stupid. Stop killing.
Okay, so she was very sad. I head straight to my room, and there, hanging limply at the end of my bed, is a very sad, deflated helicopter balloon. Charlie Tango, looking and feeling exactly like me. I feel
I have a new
like...
pet theory. Anastasia's a deflated helicopter balloon, and she has been all along.
This is probably
That's it.
like one of those things where they're using literally incorrectly, but it's exactly... I don't know if that counts. I mean, she's probably saying, that's exactly how I feel. But, like,
Yeah,
looking
she
and
might just be
feeling...
feeling.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think she would say, I feel just like...
That looks
like that balloon.
Yeah.
Rather than
exactly
that
how I
balloon
feel.
looks just like me.
Wow, that balloon and I have an uncanny likeness. Yes, she meant the other thing that you said. That balloon looks like I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tentatively, I rub my backside. It's sore.
That was a good scream.
This comes right after she's like very, very sad about being hit by Christian, experiencing the true depths of his depravity. And it really breaks the tone because there's a lot of like really not quite purple, just sort of melodramatic writing about how broken up she is about the experience, and then it's just like, oh, it's sore. And another thing, she has done it sparingly in the chapters leading up to this final chapter, and this is the only time she does it in this chapter, but yet again, all etc., etc., etc. This time in reference to the paintings, or the art in Christian's apartment. She describes them as all abstract, serene, cool. Yeah. Way to describe an art.
This art is so cool.
I just want to say a thing that's not really a thing. Heading downstairs, I glance at the great room. And she means the great room, but I don't know, it says, I glance at the great room. What a great room.
This room sure is great. Wow.
This room amazing.
Alright. Okay, situational. He looks naked, though I know he's wearing his PJ bottoms. How do you know? Why do you assume that? Like, I'm assuming she's just thinking, God, I hope his naked butt is not on the piano bench.
I know he's wearing his PJ bottoms. He would never play piano naked.
She already has inventoried his entire wardrobe, and before leaving the bedroom, discovered which piece of clothing was missing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't there a character in some video game named PJ Winterbottom?
Oh, yeah, PJ Winterbottom's, something adventure, Curious Adventure, probably. The Misadventures, oh no, it's PB Winterbottom. Sorry.
PB Winterbottom.
The Misadventures of PB Winterbottom. Anyway.
Porky Boat. Peanut butter.
Chopin.
Chopin. Opus 28, number 4, in E minor if you're interested, he murmurs.
I'm always interested in what you do.
Okay, Anastasia, but if you were interested, and to be fair, it is interesting, but you did not actually pursue the interesting aspect of this. You are more interested in the naked man. The question for me is, why is it interesting that it's in E minor? Was it written that way? Is that what Opus 20, it's in E minor? Is it interesting because Christian modulated it to E minor for personal taste reasons? And now I'm honestly curious, and now the book is never going to answer that question for me. I'll have to do research if I want to know. Thanks a lot.
You can just write to Yale James.
Well, she probably also does not know why it's interesting either.
I mean, I feel like you're giving Anna quite a lot of credit here. Do you think she knows enough about music to ask a question that specific?
Yeah, actually I'm curious to know if maybe it's not ever in E minor and she just put that in there.
In E minor.
Oh, it's in E minor. Ooh, E minor. That sounds. And if she did know anything about major and minor keys, which I think most laymen do, minor. That's the scary key.
She's like, the sad key, the saddest key.
And then E. I say E when I'm sad. A major is the angriest key because you go and it's a major thing when you're angry.
The key of
The key of
I feel like obviously Christian would probably know exactly what piece he's playing.
Yeah. But
this is so specific and out of place in terms of the book that I feel like she specifically looked up a Chopin piece that she thought was sad, so she didn't just use like
the actual YouTube title.
Like for Elise or like Eine kleine Nachtmusik or something.
Yeah.
Because those are very stereotypical.
Those are Mozart?
For Elise is Beethoven.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. It's Chad's turn.
Good plan, I breathe. Good plan.
Good plan.
Good plan.
Good plan. Yeah, that's, I don't know. Good plan. It's probably actually how. Good plan.
Okay, so Christian is continually surprised by Anna's ability to remember to take her pill. Like, he's always like, Oh, well remembered. You remember to take your pill. And he's also like, only you would start a pill course in another time zone, you fucking idiots.
Fucking dicky butt.
Yeah,
I know.
Like, I admire his concern with, like, not making birth control solely the woman's responsibility. But goddamn, don't be so condescending about it.
Well, that's why I put that thing in the summary, like,
yeah.
get girl, Anastasia! Like, it's...
It might be kind of cute to, in a DS relationship, have, like, a good girl. You gotta
Sure,
treat.
of course. Like, especially if it's, like, pet play. But this is not any of those things.
No.
Like a elementary school chart on the wall where you put a gold star.
A gold star.
Ah, yeah.
It's just, do you think, like, I know that there's books after this, and it may or may not come up. Do you think Christian, like, once Anna were to start working every day that she goes to her job, he's like, oh, good job. You remembered to wake up and go to work today.
Nothing you do is expected, Anastasia, he says dryly. I think that this quote, I mean, because he's like, you're so confusing. And she's like, I don't know why you say that. Nothing you do is unexpected. Okay. To me, this whole exchange was good grounds for the Christian as a sociopath reading of this book that we've discussed. I feel like if you read this a certain way, and it doesn't even take that much mental legwork, he's trying to manipulate her into the belief that she's special enough to put up with him, you know, because he's a rich BDSM man and he's troubled. And therefore, because she is special, she can take all the punishment that he gives her, whether it's emotional, literal, or, like, physical, but not intended. So by equalizing them both as being, like, unexpected, that can manifest as Christian being, like, dangerous, and Anastasia is, like, quirky and wacky, because, like, that's how it works, right? Genders, you know, interesting men are dangerous, and interesting girls are wacky and stupid and idiots. But also understanding of abuse, because, we're both weird. We can only have each other. And then he follows this up with, like, here you go. He pushes a typed piece of paper toward me, and I notice that he's crossing things out. So it just kind of came across as like, okay, I'll remove, like, the worst things, like trying to decide your whole entire diet to make it seem like I'm not controlling. I mean, the contract is clearly not moot. It's not. He even fucking says it's not. He pretends that it is, and it's not, because he says, follow the rules, do all the things I tell you to do.
Why he... Yeah, I don't know why he wants to not have this contract.
Well,
unless,
in this reading of the Christian is a sociopath thing, it's actually making the situation more dangerous, because if neither of them are actually held to the bonds of the contract, that's also true. Goes for him, so he does not have to kind of, like, watch his behavior in the ways that he had to if it was a real contract.
Yeah, that's actually what really disturbed me about him saying all that, is that I was like, he's saying this to say, like, oh, you're not really under the contract, but at the same time he wants everything that he would get out of it.
Yeah.
And also to not be bound by the contract.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, he doesn't come out and say that, but it's like, it feels pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's definitely a really strong, like, subtext to what he's doing there.
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I read this as, you'd always rather have sex than milk. That's not what it says. You'd always rather have sex than talk. Anastasia calls him out on this, but she's, like, laughing about it. She's like, you always rather have sex than talk. And then doesn't press him on it.
Right, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yep. Anna, you may fall and hurt yourself, which would put you in direct contravention of rule number 7, now 6, because he crossed out one of the rules. I know he's just being cute, but for fuck's sake, she's not Mr. Glass.
Who is Mr. Glass?
He is Samuel L. Jackson's character in the movie Unbreakable. They called me Mr. Glass because he's constantly falling down and breaking his bones.
Oh, yeah, I never saw that movie.
It's fucking good.
It's very
underrated in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good.
I like it a lot.
I don't know why people don't like it.
I mean, I think they just think that, you know, everything after Sixth Sense was bad, but this one was good. It was a pretty steady decline, in my opinion.
I was gonna say, I just think a lot of people didn't see it. For some reason, it wasn't
also
marketed very heavily.
Yeah.
And they didn't attach his name to it, I don't feel, really heavily. I don't know why, because it was Bruce Willis.
We're talking about M. Night Shyamalan, by the way.
Yeah, M. Night Shyamalan. Because it was Bruce Willis again, in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. And Samuel L. Jackson. It was also, I think, sort of a box office failure, because nobody saw it.
That's interesting. I would watch that, yeah.
It's basically... It was like... it's basically a superhero comic book movie before they started doing them.
Oh.
And not really. It's
like
very much a sort of dark, not quite like it's not overt like this is a superhero story.
Yeah, I guess
it's more of a mystery, and then that's kind of the reveal that it's a superhero story.
Yeah, it's a deconstruction of superheroes.
Yeah,
like it's a modern or it's sort of a
no, it's modern.
Postmodern take on it, like.
Yeah, but it has elements of modernity.
Well, yeah,
you haven't seen it.
Yeah, because it's postmodern.
Yeah.
Oopsie. Anyway,
we don't need to. This podcast isn't about Unbreakable. Anyway,
it's good, and I need to see it again.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he keeps doing this, you've got to turn off your phone because you've got to keep yourself safe, and you've got to keep your body pristine for me so that I can fuck it. I just, God, he's fucking treating her like a tiny baby child who can't do anything for herself, and it just pisses me off. I get that, oh, he's so protective, he cares about me so much, but, there's a fucking limit, and this is it. Don't fall, Anna. Don't fucking move, or you might. It's like treating her sort of like one of those delicate Victorian ladies who can't go outside because she might catch the vapors.
He's treating her like an egg, basically.
Yeah, an egg baby from
tiny baby egg baby
life science class.
She's a mealworm.
I wonder, dear readers, if you enjoy writing fan fiction, please write us a fan fiction of 50 Shades of Grey in which Christian Grey takes Anastasia to Disney World and reveals the secrets of Walt Disney's cryogenic freezing in order to ultimately protect her from herself.
Now I remember what I was going to say. Back when 50 Shades of Grey was having its first big blow up in pop culture, I mentioned this earlier, probably at the very beginning of the podcast, when there were 3 different copies of it in the break room at work that 3 different girls were reading, and someone was asking one of the girls why she liked it so much, and she's like, "Oh, the guys, he's just so sensitive," and I was just like, "Oh my God." It was just I think she might have been on the second book, but it was just
I think she might have been on drugs.
And I guess this is supposed to be oh, he couldn't bear it if she hurt herself. But I'm so tired of this bullshit, and I'm glad it's over.
Yeah, me too. And the irony is not lost on me. I was running to avoid this. If he'd opened his arms, I'd run to him, not away from him. So what you're saying is, it's Ray, yay, on your wedding day.
Wedding day, free ride, already paid.
I don't know how that song goes, but I was talking to Chad about this earlier. Yes, I suppose it is ironic, but is it really ironic? Isn't there a more complicated
job?
It would be more if she was running to avoid this. But then, because she was running to avoid it, she ran into it. You know what I mean? I can't... It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
She was running to avoid being spanked, and he's spanking her because she ran.
I don't know if that's... Okay, alright, I guess I see it. But it's just I don't know. I think people are that's so ironic, when it's not actually. But anyways. Alright, next.
They're catching Jace. I fucking hated it.
That's stupid.
Okay, so this is kind of like a little bit enacting the bratty sub things where it's like, there's some subs that are like totally submissive and they're just obeying. And then there's bratty subs who like to, talk back and snark.
I hate you. I'm not gonna submit.
And then they're encouraging punishment and that's the thing that...
Right.
And I think that can be, cute and a good dynamic because, they both know what they're doing. But this is Christian is like, no, this is, even in jest, you cannot run away from me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And he's like, I don't want you running away from me ever. Even as a fun game where it's not serious. Maybe he has abandonment issues. Oh,
well, yeah, maybe.
Probably, definitely, but I don't know. I guess.
Perhaps.
She's not your mom, Christian.
No.
I can soothe him, join him briefly in the darkness, and bring him into the light. And then later, but I have an ulterior motive. If I do this for him, maybe he will let me touch him. Then later, I had hoped to drag my 50 Shades into the light, but it's proved a task beyond my meager abilities. Just like this whole thing. I mean, I believe that James is trying to show that she is going about this the entirely wrong way, but I don't know. This is really fucking bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's, once again, equating BDSM with, darkness.
Sinfulness.
Sinful, evil, fucked up shit. And also, I'm gonna do this for him so that I can violate, the one thing that really fucking gets to him, his, safe word, basically.
Each other. Two wrongs, right.
Yeah,
I really hate that so much. In part because I feel like that reflects some, real life relationships that people have, and they, glorify them, and they just fucking suck. Everybody knows it.
Yep.
Also, to build on what you're saying with the morality BDSM thing, this seems rather Christian and weird. But, because she's always been doing this weird morality thing with BDSM, it's wrong or something. I actually think this book would be better if Anastasia was, super religious and, but, kind of, farcically so that she's like, I have to cleanse him of his sin by absorbing his sins into my body.
And there is, even that would be weird, because there is that, Christian BDSM thing.
Yeah, there is that.
Which is about, punishing your wife, which is fucked up, but maybe not, I don't know, it's weird. It is bad if it's, coming from a place of genuine, you gotta discipline your wife.
Yeah, that's obviously terrible, but...
yeah, I don't know, it's weird.
I wish I could remember her name. There's this one character in the manga, probably also the show Berserk, where she pretends to be, really superior. She's, a holy knight or something, but she's actually, this crazy sexual freak lord. And she has all these weird, feuds where she does all this weird shit with monsters. So she wasn't presented as, a shining example, and, more like an actual human, albeit a fucked up one. But, I just feel like something like that would have been a lot more interesting. You take this thing that you mentioned 3 times in one chapter, and, you didn't, think about it, what it can mean, what you can do with it, what the character could grow into. I just feel like this is lazy, and, how can you ever say that you feel you like these characters as an author? I don't know. Anyways.
Yep.
Too long didn't listen. If you didn't make your characters insane sexual freaks, they're not human.
Okay, so Anna's I think I might love you or something, and then Christian's like, you can't love me, Anna. No, that's wrong. He's horrified. I just... Okay, the way they talk to each other, and the way he's like, you're mine, Anastasia. I can't keep away from you. I want you so much. How do you not see this coming?
Love me? Say what? It's so dumb.
And then, how did you not see this coming? I can't see, the separation between, maybe not love, but, the ability to maybe fall in love, and all this, I must have you, you're mine. You have to trust me implicitly, Anna. But you can't love me. I just don't, like, you can't trust someone. Okay, if she can't love you, then I don't think that she should trust you either. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, of course.
If, like, it's so wrong for her to love you, then it should be just as bad, if not worse, for her to trust you.
Yeah, oh my god, yes. Especially considering all that's happened and what he asks from her.
Yeah, and, like, maybe I'm just, like, a romantic baby who can't compartmentalize sex and love or something, but, like, this just doesn't... I understand that they're, like, that this is supposed to be, like, dramatic. No, we can't, it won't work. Dramatic shit, but it just doesn't, it's just stupid.
It's stupid.
You... I feel like, Cherrydoom, you're the least romantic baby out of the three of us. I'm probably the most babyish romantic. But even I am like that, and I still find that extremely rude. Like, if somebody says, I love you, and you don't feel the same way, you don't say, you can't love me, that's wrong! You say, like, thank you. No, that's also terrible. You say, like, I appreciate that.
You cackle, you go,
You're like,
You shouldn't have loved a witch! You fool! Now you're my slave for eternity.
sucks to be you, and you
Give
drive
me-
off in your Porsche or something.
Give me a back rub. I only have a Toyota. I can't do that shit.
Okay, I guess it's Chad.
Why can't,
Why can't?
why can't I love Jose, or Paul Clayton, full name, or someone like me? This is Anastasia is, like, lamenting the fact that she's in love with Christian.
Just
But
mentioning the two other men she knows.
Yeah.
I know two other guys.
The two single guys she knows. Because
Yeah.
she kind of knows Christian's brother, who is... fucking
What
her
about
best friend.
Taylor? Why
No,
can't
what
you
about
love
Taylor?
Taylor?
He's not a man, he's just a concept.
He's an ideal.
But to answer your question that you have written here.
But, like, what does someone like me even mean?
Vanilla!
Oh.
No, just
A
kidding. It
vanilla
probably means a lot of things.
virgin who likes literature.
And wants to fall in love.
Like, I wonder... it just makes me wonder, what kind of person is Anastasia even? My
Yeah,
answer,
who knows?
She's a big fucking nothing.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Yeah. Holy fuck. This really is it. This is what it boils down to. Incompatibility. And all those poor subs come to mind. Anastasia, excuse you. They consensually agreed to it. They were not under any... I think what Christian says is like, they asked me for more and I didn't want more. In what way is that a poor sub?
Yeah, it's not really at all. Like, I mean...
And how much you want to bet it's not every single
I
sub?
mean,
It's
I
probably
guess
like
it could be
two.
poor as in, like, they got their hearts broken.
Yeah, but
Because
that
he didn't
doesn't-
want more.
That doesn't have... Yeah, but not every single one of them wanted more. I
True.
feel like that's canon. Yeah. She's projecting like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, those poor subs are just like me. They got hit a million times because they didn't safe word and they loved him. Like that, no. That didn't happen. That happened to you. Because you're an idiot. That's it. That's all I have to say.
So much has happened since then. This is Anastasia reflecting on how much has happened.
Since she met Christian?
No.
Since when?
Since the beginning of the chapter. Because she's remembering like, oh, I was just listening to him play the piano this morning. So much has happened since then. Here's what happened. Here's what happened. He spanked you. Okay, you're on the piano, then you kind of got into an argument, and then you're about to have sex, and then he spanked you, then you ran away, and you were alone for a bit. You laid down in your bed for a while, and you broke up. It was like 5 pages.
That's not much. I agree. Like, this is extremely terrible.
Yeah. I have a couple of blocky paragraphs, I'm sorry.
Say it all.
Anastasia is extremely shattered, but not in the good way. By this breakup.
What is the good way?
Her being shattered by an orgasm.
Oh.
Like concrete.
I didn't even remember that because I tried so hard not to remember any part of this book. Anyway.
Should I have said something like Anastasia's emotions have been detonated by this breakup?
But not detonated like, okay.
I mean, she's really emotionally distraught, and leaving the first and only man she's ever loved and slept with, which that makes, like, of course that would happen, but also she's really young because she's like 21. But I mean, also this is exactly the sort of thing that older people always tell people when they have breakups.
Yeah.
It doesn't really ever help because it doesn't make any difference. It can't really fix how you feel in the moment, which eventually most people do seem to realize that that's true, but it's still the sort of thing that always never feels good. So
Yeah. And I have more to say about that later.
yeah. And like what consolation can you give really, like, to someone that's just had a terrible breakup?
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, and there, Cherrydoom already read this. And there, hanging at the end of my bed, it's very sad to flit helicopter with Charlie Tango, etc. And then she grabs it and hugs it. She hugs a foil helicopter balloon.
Helicopter balloon. No.
Helicopter.
Only E.L. James would or could take crying all over a stupid balloon and make it sound like it is the saddest and most poignant thing. But actually, just to kind of... I mean, this is true for both what was just read and what Chad said earlier. The worst thing about breaking up is that it doesn't mean anything to anyone but you. Or at least most of the time. Like, yeah, you can argue, like, if you had a family, but that's not really, like, a breakup. That's, like, a divorce. And, like, your friends care about you and they want you to get better, but, like, they're not right there with you suffering with your fucking heart blown into pieces. And I thought it was also interesting how, like, oh, love of my life, breaking up, first guy I had sex with 21. That happened to me when I was 20, and I think I tried really hard to not do that, but now that I went through with it, I'm really happy. So, like, it is one of those things that...
Not to what?
Not break up.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I even arguably succeeded because I made it so that we got back together, but, like, it wasn't worth it. Like, I don't know. But my point was that, like, once you go through something like that, I feel like your capacity to really be, like, right there and really kind of naive with the other person is, like, totally gone. Like, It's like, oh, you're gonna be fine. Like, that's sort of, like, what you become after you do that.
Yeah. You have to do it once, though.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Anyway, what a stupid fucking ending.
Yes.
That's how I feel. That's what I wrote, and that's what Chuuurls said.
I stole it.
Alright, goddess watch. My inner goddess closes her eyes, reveling in the feel of his lips on me.
To feel.
To feel. I feel like maybe it's just Anna doing this, closing her eyes and reveling the feel of his lips on her.
Like
uh-oh. Has the goddess become Anna?
I don't know, let's keep reading.
Has the goddess become Anna, or is Anna just dissociating?
Probably.
Who knows?
My subconscious has found her Nikes, and she's on to start. Man, I did this a lot. On to starting blocks. This is when she's about to run away from Christian. My subconscious is shaking her head sadly, and my inner goddess is nowhere to be seen. Oh, this is a dark morning of the soul for me. Deep down, a nasty, unbidden thought comes from my inner goddess, her lips contorted in a snarl. The physical pain from the bite of the belt is nothing compared to this devastation. Which is a fucking dangerous thought, in my mind, to have.
Me too. I agree. Gross.
Where? Chad saying thing?
Chad, about the starting blocks?
Yeah. So we have confirmation of the continued existence of the Olympic Stadium and track and field inside Anastasia's mind/head.
Yep.
So it's a real thing. It's there. Confirmed.
It's a real fake thing.
A real true fake thing. If you ask me, we need to raise this level to the highest possible fucking level.
I agree.
Maybe like... Shit, what happened in this chapter? I would like the level to include the word devastation, but I don't know what else. Alright.
Devastating tsunami of emotion, Gray?
Devastating biting gray belt gray.
Devastating blackout physical pain gray.
Wow.
Can we do that?
Good luck.
Good luck.
BDSM chat. Okay, so basically what happens is Christian hits her with a belt, which is arguably very painful. I have used the belt a couple times. I found one in a dollar store that had, like, it was a hot pink belt, and it had these little metal studs on it that spelled out, I heart Jesus on it, and the little Jesus fish. And I loved it, but it was a cheap piece of shit. But it was probably very painful, and it did leave a little Jesus mark.
My goodness.
Mark.
That's great.
But yeah, belts are pretty fucking harsh. Not only because of just the pain, but also because of they're very sort of daddy kind of thing. Because that's kind of the traditional abusive dad punishment.
Yeah, right. So it's intense on a number of levels.
Yeah.
And I would also like to add that, like, because of the way that it, how do you say, like, it doesn't radiate the pain across, it isolates it. So that hurts a fucking lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's no joke.
Christian does try to administer aftercare immediately after, like, he tries to pull her into his arms. But she's like, no! You're fucked up, Christian! You gotta sort your shit out! And Anna doesn't want it. I feel like she didn't quite understand how this is gonna work.
I feel like she didn't safe word.
True, and even when she knew she hated it, she was like, okay, I can take one more just to see this through. Even though, like, she knew as soon as this is over, I'm gonna give him what for? Wow,
that's crazy. And, like, if you experience that amount of pain, I don't feel like you have the presence of mind to sit there and go, like, I'm gonna take more so I can get mad. Like, it's sort of like, when I've been in situations like that, I immediately just like, no, don't do any more than that. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't do more. Yeah.
That really was unrealistic to me, because, like, she's sitting there like, oh, that's farts. This is so bad. This is the worst thing I've ever experienced. I'll take another one.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way. Sorry.
I mean, I understand that, like, she was like, I want to see how bad it can hurt. She knew that it was going to fucking hurt.
That is such a bad idea, anyways.
And then she got mad. Like, did he...
He's an idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that, like... I don't know. Maybe this is totally, reasonable. But I wonder, like, if it's just, like, the amount of pain would be the thing that totally changed her mind. That seems strange to me.
That, to me, also seems strange. I think maybe if you have an aversion to a certain level of pain, it makes sense.
Yeah, but she specifically asked for, let's see how hard you can do it. And usually when a dude... I've had people say, yeah, the idea of you just going as hard as you can is really exciting to me. And even then, I usually hold back because I'm
of course, because
a wimp.
As a responsible dom, that's what you need to do. Yeah, you know what's up.
Yeah.
But speaking of responsible doms, if it's okay to move on.
Yeah, go ahead.
When Christian is asked why he needs to hurt Anastasia without having any kind of safe word, he just needs it. He says, "I just need it." I can't tell you, he then says. Can't or won't, she asks. Won't. So he knows why, prods Anastasia. Yes, he says, but you won't tell me, says Anastasia. If I do, you will run screaming from this room and you'll never want to return. I can't risk that, Anastasia. Okay, so I would never, you should never let anybody do dom stuff to you if they say that to you. The only reason somebody needs to do those things to you consensually is that they find it sexy. So, if he had just said, I find it sexy, and left it at that, that would be cool and fine. As a reason. And that's a good reason. It doesn't go into, like, the psychoanalysis of, like, I'm fucked up, my mom wasn't there. Like, no. You like to do it because it's sexy. That's really the...
it could also be like, she needs to get aggression out.
Yeah, but like, can you answer honestly? Like, I don't know if Cherrydoom, I don't think you really have, like, a fetish for this stuff. I think we kind of talked about it before and we just agreed that it's fun to do. Like,
yes, I do find it sexy. I just don't
but that's like, but that's all you really need to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You don't need to say,
also,
like-
this isn't that, like, why would she run...
No,
Why
she
would
wouldn't.
she-
It's so stupid. Like,
She would probably feel fucking sorry for him and want to be like, oh, poor baby. Like, because he was abused, right?
I don't know, actually. I'm not really sure what the reason is. I suppose it is that he endured some kind of abuse, and, like, I seem to be remembering from those books, yes, that was the case.
Yeah, the cigarette burns and all that, right?
But also, he had, like, a desire to torture ladies that looked like his mom, and he thinks, but it's not true that Anastasia looks like his mother.
Oh, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. So,
Alright, I agree with that.
but you don't have to, like, take it that far, you know what I mean? Like, what does anybody ever really need to know about you? Just say, I am a sadist. My fetish is hurting people. Ta-da!
But then I guess he can't be like, I just need it, because then you could be like, well, you can just not do it. You
can just
think
not
of
do
something
it.
else sexy. But
I don't know. It's just like anybody who is not upfront with you in that way. Like, if I ask somebody, like, what's something fairly benign that isn't gonna, like, fuel some nerd's sex dreams?
I like it when I can scratch a girl's freckle.
Okay, so
all right.
all right, so if I go up to the Chad's dying. When I go up to this guy and I'm like,
Why do you need to scratch my freckle?
he doesn't need to, he doesn't, I'll tell you what he doesn't need to say. He doesn't need to say, the reason it's so fucked up that you'll run away if you ever knew. He can just say, I find it sexy to scratch your freckle. And that's really all that it matters. And also, we can then have an arrangement where he does that in a way that's consensual and isn't scary and weird. Like, okay, does the analogy properly explain what I'm getting at here?
Yes.
So show me how hard you can scratch the freckle.
Show me how hard you can scratch. No, that was too hard, you fucking freak. That was my freckle and you scratched it.
Man, the thing about his mom is totally, I'm like seeing this in a whole different way. That is
I mean, see, like, that's the reason he gives, but I don't know if that's, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's clear he internalized it. My Chad is still dying. I'm so sorry. So it is pretty funny, but you want to move on to favorite line, or do you guys have any closing thoughts?
Let's do favorite line.
Okay.
Mine is piano. Wow.
Yeah, me too. I read it more like piano. Wow.
I agreed with both of your selections, by the way.
I'm not going to give any context.
All right, yeah, you don't need to bother. My favorite is, well, you are one fucked up son of a bitch. That is my favorite line in the whole entire book, actually. I love it. I think it's so funny.
I have another one, and it's one that we've all sort of picked up on. And there, hanging limply at the end of my bed, is a very sad, deflated helicopter balloon. It's just so funny.
It's so sad.
So stupid.
Is there any... Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
That's
a
exactly what this
plastic
is. This is like
American Beauty.
yeah, it's like French New Wave, like
Yeah.
surrealist. Like,
Noir.
the red balloon. The red balloon is so sad.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
exactly what this is.
This IKEA lamp is sad. You think it's sad. It has no feelings.
It has no feelings. That's because you're stupid.
Anyways, what was good? What was good? Here's a line that I thought was great. The elevator doors close, and it whisks me down to the bowels of the basement and to my own personal hell. And it's also the final chapter. I don't know. I thought that was a great line. Not because it's well written, but because it's just so melodramatic and amazing. Yeah.
That sort of reminds me of a level in Hitman, I think the third one, where there's a heaven and hell party, and you can go up to the top of the building for the heaven part of the party, and everybody's like wearing white and stuff, or you can go down into the basement to the hell part of the party where everybody's wearing red and there are literal sharks. But yeah,
Those games
that's
are
all.
great.
I
Yeah.
enjoy them.
Yeah.
Well, that's also sort of happens in... No, never mind. No, I was gonna... No.
Okay. What if Taylor's a hitman? What if he...
He is. Duh, he is.
What if Christian takes out a hit on Jose? But
That'd
then
be-
Taylor falls in love with Jose and they run away together.
And they kiss.
Would Taylor also be torn by his love for Christian?
Yeah.
Probably not.
I bet. Never mind.
The chase scene was sort of okay, even though Chad hated it. I mean, it was a little more playful, except not at all. Christian was a fucking dick about it. He was not game to play along. But what was good was that I like the way the book ends. I can just imagine that this is how the whole series ends. Anna breaks up with Christian, and Anna is sad. She'll get over it. It's been, I remind you, less than a month since they first boned. She'll move on. She'll have learned more about herself, and she will meet many other people in her life.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If this were the end of the series, and we were like trying to imagine what course Anna's life would take, Christian would still probably interfere, and Anna would probably end
Call
up
the
getting
police.
pressured into a relationship with Jose.
Call the police.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could also do like a commentary on like male power. So the only way to protect yourself from Christian is to make an
kill him.
alliance. Well, to kill him, but also to make an alliance with another man who could threaten him. Because the power does not lie with you, the woman.
With his evil twin.
Welcome to God.
Just kidding.
I totally understand why you liked the chase scene. Why the chase scene is like sort of enjoyable, Cherrydoom. It's just I just don't like the way she writes that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
I really don't like the dynamic that exists there because of how it clashes against like all the other existing power dynamics between Christian and Anastasia. Because it's like he's like giving her just enough room to be like her normal snarky self, but he totally tries to own everything about her. There's a line. Christian comes in to talk to Anna after he's spanked her with a belt, and he says like, "Don't hate me," which is really sad and also a really stupid line. Which I think is sort of how this chapter is. 'Cause some of it feels pretty sad, but it's only because it's like relatable breakup sort of stuff. Even though the relationship that exists between them, I think a lot of people probably can't relate to. Like in the larger sense, like in some ways because of sort of the abusive nature of it, but in terms of the emotionally abusive stuff. And like this last chapter, because of the tonal whiplash, feels more interesting, and just for a tiny amount of time, you could feel pity or sympathy and like empathy possibly for these characters. Then you remember the rest of the book, and you don't want to do that because these characters are awful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So my last comment is, we already talked about it.
Alright, safe word.
Say word.
And if I say no, he gazes at me for a moment with a confused expression. If you say no, you'll say no. I'll have to find a way to persuade you. Like, no, that's... If she says no, she says no.
Really fucked up.
It means you never.
Yeah.
Although, I was thinking about this on the bus over, and like, or actually no, it was the subway, pardon me. I was like, okay, so if your boyfriend really wants to scratch your freckle, and you say no, when is it okay for him to bring it up again? Because it's fine, and obviously from that point onwards, he should never scratch your freckle. But if he still has the desire, and he thinks that you're coming to a place where you may be... I mean, this is the whole kind of issue with, like, hard limits, soft limits, is that, like...
Yeah.
There's kind of the implication that, like, maybe one day you could push this, but then, like, I don't know. So maybe if you just brought it up, like, respectfully later, like, hey, that time, like, I said I would spank you? Yeah? Can I do that now? Like, I don't know. Like, I think if you don't do the thing, like, in the middle of something, if you like continue to try to procure consent, I feel like that's okay. But there's certainly a line of like you cannot ask every day, an hour. Like you may have to give it some time is all. I don't know.
You just have to find some other outlet. If you want to like scratch the girlfriend's freckle, but she won't let you, you just have to get a virtual girlfriend on your DS and scratch her freckles
with the little stylus.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, would it be okay for her to say, "I'll have to find a way to persuade you to let me touch your chest"?
No, it wouldn't be okay. But at the same time, like, do you think that like an adult conversation can take place later? Like, how do you feel about the whole chest thing now? Like, are you feeling more comfortable with me? And if he's like, no, then you just say like, okay. And then you don't push it. Like, I feel I guess
there's a difference in like persuasion and just discussion like adults.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, it's just that discussion like adults can sometimes, I mean, there is, I don't want to sound like it's scummy because it's not. Like, it's just like, you know, have you considered it more? Do you think one day you could? Do you want to go to therapy? Like, not that it's not, you never want to make somebody feel like they're abnormal, but at the same time, like, you know, it would be great if we could do stuff together and you wouldn't be scared. Like, that kind of thing. I don't know. Like, but it's obviously a problem. I'm still thinking about it. I probably will think about it on the way back.
This is something that's hard for me because, like, for me, with my intimacy problems, like, if I say, I don't want to do that, and they say, even if they say, that's fine, I know that they want to do that. And that will always be in the back of my mind that I'm disappointing them.
I don't know, because like for me personally, I don't know, because then it'll just turn into me talking to you and not me talking about the podcast. But I think, yeah, with some people it's like that, but with other people, like you just have to find someone who genuinely like doesn't mind. I think they exist. Yeah.
Chad.
A lot of stuff. We've already touched on pretty much all of it. Christian's sex having no talk ways, all the ways that he's trying to manipulate Anastasia, all of the ways that he's trying to like weasel around the rules that he tried to establish himself. It just is the thing that you just talked about, Cherrydoom, because that bothered me too. I don't know. The whole book is a safe word.
Very good. Can somebody change the colors in the next passage so we can all read them together, so we can read something together? Who wants to be Anastasia? Who wants to be Christian? You want to be... No, that's... Okay, no, you're good. I'm being a jerk.
No.
Okay, so Cherrydoom's gonna narrate, and I guess I can be Christian, yeah.
This isn't much of a reading. It was one line each, but it's fine. It'll be our last reading together for this book. His entire demeanor changes in a nanosecond. Gone is playful Christian, and he stands staring at me as if I'd slapped him. He's ashen.
That's how you feel?
He whispers. Those 4 words, and the way he utters them speaks volumes. Oh no. They tell me so much more about him and how he feels. They tell me about his fear and loathing. I frown. No, I don't feel that bad. No way. Do I?
No, it doesn't affect me quite as much as that, but it gives you an idea.
I murmur, staring anxiously at him.
I think that Anastasia should not have backpedaled in this situation. Anastasia was trying to say that non-consensual touching and hard limit pushing is traumatic. Therefore, it is actually, maybe not exactly the same, but pretty close to the same. She should not have said all this stuff like, no, I'm just kidding, no, it didn't hurt me. I mean, you can do this whole, like, what is it? It's not moving the goalposts, but it's like oppression Olympics. Like, yes, Christian can always win in terms of that, ironically, being a
I mean, the thing is, though, that she doesn't know how he feels because he hasn't explained it. She just knows he doesn't like it.
Well,
she
but based
might
on the
think
way that he acts.
she might think that it is the same, and then she sees it like, oh, it's much worse than I thought, or something.
Yeah, but she shouldn't say like it gives you an idea. She should say like, yeah, why not? Like, you know, in your situation, someone did that to you when you didn't want it. In
Yeah.
this situation, you're doing this to me when I don't want it. Like, couldn't
That's
you even
true.
just give me the benefit of, like, asking me? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Consent? What about that?
I mean,
I don't know. Do you think I'm being too crazy with that? Like,
I think this
feel
is
like
just.
it is the
I
same.
think this is mainly a case of poor communication. Neither of them knows what the other is feeling, and it's just not. They're not talking about it enough. Like they're being
Yeah, I
super
agree.
vague, and they need to talk about it.
Yeah.
And they don't. Instead, he fucking spanks the shit out of her.
And she breaks up.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. Now it's time
Spoiler
for the spoiler dungeon. Which is this the end?
Everything is possible. Nothing is certain.
All right.
I'm pretty
Well,
certain there's only 2 more books.
there's only 2 more books, but you know, like, whatever, man. Try, like, expanding your mind, dude. Somebody could write another fan fiction. Saga could continue on forever, or this could be the fucking end of the book, and we're not going to do any more of the books. We are going to sum up the next 2 books in the next podcast. We're going to have a little debrief episode. I don't know in what order those will come, but they will happen. So
Yeah.
We also have one more future responsibility that
Yeah.
we've repeatedly talked about,
yeah,
and that's to see and review the movie.
All right.
indeed. So that will happen February 2015. You will hear from us before then. We are planning to pod. But yeah, I would stay tuned for like 1 or 2 more episodes, and then
And
Yeah.
then we'll try to discuss, what we're doing after that.
my
maybe.
answer is the podcast is eternal, as is our friendship. But as for this book, it really is the fucking end of this one book.
Yeah.
Not the series, but this book, yes. Yes, my friends, yes, we have done it.
Hooray!
Okay. Yay!
Yay.
Laters, baby.
Laters,
Laters,
baby.
baby.
Yay, we did it.
We did it.